The warning signal cut through space like a knife. Every ship in the Outer Rim systems received the same message at the same time. The voice was cold and mechanical, speaking in the universal language that all species understood. Warning, Sol 3. Designated as Dead Zone, quarantine protocols in effect. Any vessel approaching within 50 astronomical units will be destroyed without warning. This message repeats. Captain Han Wu stood on the bridge of the Starseeker, watching the red warning lights flash across his control panels. His ship was an exploration vessel built for long missions in the empty spaces between stars. They had been mapping asteroid fields near the rim when the transmission arrived. "Captain, we're getting this message on all frequencies," said Minho from his position at the tactical station. The young officer's face was pale as he read the data streaming across his screens. "It's coming from the Galactic Federation's main communication array," Hyun Woo frowned. In his 20 years of service, he had never heard of a dead zone being declared. The Federation was careful about such things. They did not waste time on empty threats. "Pull up the star charts," he ordered. "Show me where this Sol 3 is located." The main screen lit up with a three-dimensional map of the local galaxy. Minho highlighted a section near the outer edge, where a yellow star sat surrounded by a massive red sphere. The sphere marked the exclusion zone around the system. 50 astronomical units, whispered Kuan from her station near the back of the bridge. She was their xenobiologist, a quiet woman who spent most of her time studying alien plant samples. "That's larger than most solar systems." Han Wu studied the display. Sol 3 appeared to be the third planet from a medium-sized star. Nothing about it looked special or dangerous. Yet the Federation had marked it as forbidden territory. "Do we have any records about this system?" he asked. Minho's fingers danced across his console. "Searching now, Captain." "The computer shows very little information. Most files are classified above our security level." "What can you find?" "Basic stellar data. The star is approximately 4.5 billion years old. The system has 8 planets, several moons, and an asteroid belt." Sol 3 showed signs of supporting life. Showed? Past tense? Minho nodded grimly. "According to what I can access, there was some kind of catastrophic event approximately 200 years ago. The planet was declared uninhabitable." One moved closer to look at the data. Her dark eyes scanned the information quickly. "Captain, these energy readings don't make sense. If the planet is dead, why are the long-range sensors picking up thermal signatures?" Hyun Woo turned to face her. "What kind of thermal signatures?" "Industrial activity. Large-scale manufacturing and ... She paused, checking her readings again. "What appears to be organized settlement patterns across multiple continents." The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of the ship's engines. Hyun Woo felt a chill run down his spine. If G1 was right, then either their sensors were malfunctioning, or the Federation was lying about Sol 3. "Could be automated systems," suggested Minho. "Some kind of cleanup operation running on its own? For 200 years? G1 shook her head. "No automated system runs that long without maintenance, and these patterns are too complex. They show growth, expansion, adaptation." Han Wo walked to the center of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. He had served the Federation faithfully for most of his adult life. They had always been honest about threats and dangers. Why would they lie about a dead planet? "Captain," called Du Hyan from the communications station. "I'm picking up something strange. It's a very weak signal coming from near the quarantine border." "What kind of signal? Encrypted transmission?" "Short range meant for someone specific, but Captain ... It's using old smuggler codes." Han Wu's experience told him to report this information to Federation Command and continue with their original mission, but his curiosity had always been stronger than his caution. That was why he had become an explorer instead of staying safe on his homeworld. "Can you decode it?" Du Hyan worked for several minutes, his fingers flying over the communication. "Controls, got it, Captain. It's coordinates for a meeting point. And a message. Discussion about the human problem. Payment as agreed." "Human problem?" Minho looked confused. "What humans?" "Sol 3 is supposed to be dead." Gi1 pulled up more data on her screen. According to the basic files, Sol 3 was inhabited by a species called humans. But they were supposedly wiped out during the catastrophic event. "Then what's the human problem?" asked Du-Hyun. Hyun Woo stared at the star chart, thinking. In his years of exploration, he had learned that the most interesting discoveries came from investigating things that didn't make sense, and nothing about Sol 3 made sense. "Set course for those coordinates," he ordered. "Captain, that will take US very close to the quarantine zone, warned Minho. If Federation patrols find us there, we're explorers, Minho. Our job is to investigate unusual phenomena. And this qualifies as unusual. The Starseeker changed direction, its engines pushing the ship toward the coordinates from the intercepted message. As they traveled, G1 continued analyzing the sensor data from Sol 3. Captain, I'm finding more inconsistencies, she reported. The electromagnetic signature from the planet shows extensive radio communication networks, complex orbital traffic patterns, and the atmospheric composition shows industrial pollutants that shouldn't exist on a dead world. Maybe the catastrophic event wasn't as complete as the Federation claimed, suggested Du Haiyan. Or maybe, said Heian-Wu quietly, there was no catastrophic event at all. The crew exchanged worried glances, questioning the Federation's official. Reports was dangerous territory, but the evidence was mounting that something was very wrong with the story they had been told. Captain, we're approaching the coordinates, announced Minho. I'm detecting a small station hidden behind a dead moon. It's not on any official charts. Of course it's not, muttered Heian-Wu. Go to silent running. Minimal power signatures. Let's see who's meeting about this human problem. The Starseeker drifted toward the hidden station like a ghost ship. Through the viewports, they could see a small, battered facility that looked like it had been cobbled together from salvaged parts. 2 other ships were docked there, both displaying the modified registration codes that smugglers used. Captain, whispered Du Haiyan, I'm picking up conversation from the station. They're talking about supply runs to the quarantine zone, and payment for keeping quiet about what they've seen. Heian-Wu made his decision. Whatever was happening around? Sol 3, these smugglers knew the truth. And he was going to find out what that truth was, even if it meant disobeying Federation orders. Prepare for docking, he commanded. We're going to have a conversation about humans. The docking tube connected with a soft thud. Heian-Wu checked his sidearm one more time before stepping onto the smuggler station. The air smelled of machine oil and recycled oxygen that had been breathed too many times. The station was smaller than it looked from outside. Narrow corridors led to a central meeting area where 3 figures waited around a metal table. 2 were species Heian-Wu recognized, a tall Centauran with blue-scaled skin and a short Altarian with 4 arms. The third was something he had never seen before. Federation ship, said the Centauran without looking up. We saw you coming. Either you're to arrest us, or you're here to learn something. Which is it? We intercepted your transmission. Heian-Wu replied. We want to know about the human problem. The Altarian laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Another curious, Captain. They always come eventually. The lies are too obvious. What lies? The Centauran stood up slowly. He was older than Heian-Wu had first thought, with scars across his neck and hands. Name's Taejin. I've been running salvage operations in this sector for 30 years. Want to know what I've learned about Sol 3? Tell me. The humans aren't dead. Taejin's words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. They're very much alive. The Federation declared them a dead zone because they're too dangerous to let loose on the galaxy. Minho stepped forward, his hand moving toward his weapon. That's impossible. The records clearly state. The records lie, interrupted the third figure. When she spoke, Heian-Wu realized she was female. Her skin was pale gray, and her eyes were too large for her face. I should know. I helped write some of them. Sujin used to work for Federation intelligence, explained Taejin. Before she learned the truth about what really happened to Earth, Sujin activated a portable display unit. Images began flowing across the screen, star charts, military reports, and what looked like combat footage. 200 years ago, the hegemony decided to invade Earth. The hegemony was an alliance of the most powerful military species in the galaxy. They had conquered dozens of worlds. The images showed massive warships dropping from orbit around a blue and green planet. Cities burned under bombardment from space. Millions of small figures ran through streets filled with smoke and fire. It was supposed to be easy, Sujin continued. Orbital bombardment for 3 days, then ground forces to occupy what was left. Standard procedure. They had done it many times before. Heian-Wu watched the images with growing horror. He had heard stories about the hegemony wars, but seeing actual footage was different. What went wrong? The humans, said Taejin simply. They didn't die the way they were supposed to. The footage changed. Now it showed human cities that had been bombed, but were already being rebuilt. Humans pulling technology from crashed alien ships. Children learning to use weapons that should have been too advanced for them. Look at this, Sujin pointed to one section of video. This was taken 6 weeks after the invasion began. The hegemony thought they had won, But watch what the humans are doing. The image showed a human settlement built inside the wreckage of a hegemony battleship. The humans had not just salvaged the ship, they had improved it. Weapons that had been designed for space combat were now defending ground positions. Shield generators meant for starships were protecting entire cities. They adapted, whispered G1 from behind Hyun-woo. They learned to use alien technology faster than the aliens expected, faster than anyone expected, agreed Soo-jin. Within 3 months, human soldiers were using hegemony weapons better than hegemony soldiers. Within 6 months, they had built their own versions that worked even better. The footage continued. Hyun-woo saw human fighters that moved too fast, took too much damage, and fought too long. Some appeared to be wounded or killed, only to return to battle hours later with mechanical parts replacing what they had lost. They started modifying themselves, Tae-jin explained. Cybernetic implants, genetic therapy, artificial organs. Whatever it took to survive and fight back. The hegemony sent reinforcements, Soo-jin added. 3 entire fleets. The humans captured 2 of them and destroyed the 3rd. Minho stared at the screen in disbelief. How is that possible? Humans were supposed to be a primitive species? That's what everyone thought, replied Tae-jin. Turns out everyone was wrong. The humans weren't primitive, they were just isolated. Once they got access to advanced technology, they improved it in ways no one had imagined. The final images showed space battles around Earth, human ships that looked nothing like standard designs fought against massive hegemony vessels. The human ships were smaller, faster, and somehow more deadly. This was the last major battle, Soo-jin said quietly. The hegemony's final attempt to take Earth, they brought everything they had left. The screen showed human ships moving in ways that should have been impossible. They seemed to phase in and out of existence, appearing behind enemy vessels before disappearing again. Some appeared to be destroyed only to regenerate moments later. The humans won, Tae-jin stated. Completely. The hegemony surrendered and agreed never to return to human space. Then why, asked Do-hyun, does the Federation say Earth is a dead zone? Soo-jin and Tae-jin exchanged looks. Because the Federation was terrified, Soo-jin answered. They realized that if humans could defeat the hegemony so completely, they could probably defeat anyone, including the Federation. So they made a deal, continued Tae-jin. The Federation would declare Earth a dead zone and enforce a quarantine. In exchange, the humans would stay in their system and not expand into Federation space. The humans agreed to this? Asked Hyun-woo. They seem to, replied Soo-jin, but I don't think they're really contained. We've been running supply missions to the quarantine border for years. We see things that suggest the humans are still very active. What kind of things? Tae-jin pulled up more recent images on the display. New space stations that appear overnight. Ships with designs we've never seen before. Energy signatures that don't match any known technology. And sometimes, added Soo-jin, we intercept communications that suggest humans are in contact with other species. Species that the Federation has been having trouble with lately. Hyun-woo felt his world shifting around him. Everything he had believed about the Federation, about the safety of civilized space, was built on lies. How many people know the truth? Not many, admitted Tae-jin. The Federation has done a good job keeping it secret. Most people believe the official story about a catastrophic event. But some of us remember the real story, Soo-jin said. And some of us think the Federation made a mistake. What kind of mistake? They gave the humans 200 years to plan their next move. Tae-jin replied grimly. 200 years to develop new technology, new strategies, new weapons. And from what we've seen, they haven't been wasting time. Hyun-woo looked at his crew. All of them appeared stunned by what they had learned. The Federation had lied to them about one of the most important events in galactic history. There's more, Soo-jin said quietly. If you really want to know the truth about humans, there's only one way to find out. How? Go to Earth yourself. See what they've really been doing for the past 200 years. The suggestion hung in the air like a challenge. Hyun-woo knew that approaching Earth would mean disobeying direct Federation orders. It would probably end his career and possibly his life, but he also knew he could not ignore what he had learned. The truth was too important. Show us the safest route to the Sol system, he said finally. Tae-jin smiled for the first time since they had arrived. Now you're thinking like a real explorer. The Starseeker drifted through empty space using the route Tae-jin had provided. They moved slowly, keeping their engines at minimum power to avoid detection by Federation patrol ships. The journey to Sol system would take 3 days at this speed. Hyun-woo stood in his quarters, staring out the small viewport at the stars. He had not slept well since leaving the smuggler station. Every few hours, he wondered if he was making the right choice. Disobeying Federation orders was serious. But learning that the Federation had lied about something this important was even more serious. A soft chime indicated someone wanted to enter his quarters. "Come in," he called. G1 stepped through the door, carrying a datapad. "Captain, I've been analyzing the information Sujin gave us. There are things that don't make sense." "What kind of things?" "The timeline is wrong. According to Federation records, the catastrophic event on Earth happened exactly 203 years ago. But the combat footage Sujin showed us spans almost 2 years." Heinwu turned away from the viewport. "Meaning? The war lasted much longer than anyone admits. And the humans had time to really understand alien technology before the Federation declared the quarantine." Du1 activated her datapad showing energy readings and technical specifications. "Look at these weapon signatures from the final battle footage. The human ships were using power sources that shouldn't be possible with captured hegemony technology. They invented new technology? More than that. They combined different alien technologies in ways that created completely new systems. Captain, what if the humans didn't just adapt? What if they became better at making advanced technology than the species who invented it?" Before Haiyan Wu could respond, Du Haiyan's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, to the bridge. We're approaching the quarantine boundary." They walked quickly through the ship's corridors to the bridge. Minho was at his station, monitoring sensor readings with obvious nervousness. "Captain, I'm detecting the automated defense satellites. They're exactly where the Federation charts said they would be. Any signs of patrol ships? None yet. But those satellites are armed with plasma cannons. They can destroy any ship that gets too close." Haiyan Wu studied the tactical display. The defense satellites formed a sphere around the Sol system at exactly 50 astronomical units from the central star. "Du Haiyan, can you use the smuggler codes to get us past them?" "I'm trying, Captain." Taejin said the codes should work, but ... Du Haiyan paused, looking confused. "Sir, the satellites aren't responding to the codes." "What do you mean?" "They're not scanning us at all. It's like they can't see us." Minho checked his instruments. "Captain, our stealth systems aren't that good. Those satellites should definitely detect us." "Unless," said Juan quietly, "someone doesn't want them to detect us." As if her words had summoned it, a new contact appeared on their sensors. A ship was approaching from deeper in the system, moving faster than anything Haiyan had ever seen. It was sleek and dark, with a design unlike any vessel in Federation records. "Unknown ship, identify yourself," came a voice over the communication system. The accent was strange, but the words were in standard galactic language. "This is Captain Haiyan Wu of the Federation exploration vessel Starseeker," he replied. "We request permission to enter the system." There was a long pause. Then the voice returned, sounding amused. "Federation vessel, you are either very brave or very stupid. Which is it? We're explorers. We came to learn the truth about what happened here." "The truth," the voice seemed to consider this. "Very well. Follow our ship. Do not deviate from the course we provide. Any attempt to scan our technology or transmit signals will be considered hostile." The alien ship began moving toward the inner system. Han Wu ordered Du Haiyan to follow, matching their speed and course exactly. As they traveled deeper into Sol system, more ships appeared around them. They seemed to materialize from empty space, as if they had been invisible until now. "Captain," whispered Minho, "I count at least 20 ships escorting us, and I think there are more that I can't detect." The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They moved with perfect coordination, forming a protective formation around the Starseeker. Their hulls seemed to shimmer, making them difficult to focus on clearly. "Approaching Sol 3, announced the escort ship. "Prepare for orbital insertion." Through the viewports, they could see Earth growing larger. It was not the dead, burned world that Federation records described. The planet was green and blue, with white clouds swirling around continents that showed clear signs of civilization. City lights were visible on the night side, and orbital structures reflected sunlight like jewels. "It's beautiful," breathed G1. "And very much alive," added Du-Haiyan. Their escort ship guided them toward a massive space station that hung in orbit above Earth. The station was enormous, easily 10 times larger than any Federation facility. Its design mixed smooth curves with sharp angles, creating something that looked both elegant and dangerous. "Welcome to Terra Station," said the escort ship's commander. "You will dock at Bay 7. A reception committee is waiting for you." As the Starseeker approached the docking bay, Haiyan Wu could see other ships through the viewports. Some looked like modified versions of known designs, but others were completely alien. Not alien as in non-human, but alien as in built using principles that Federation science did not understand. The docking process was smooth and quiet. As soon as they were secure, Hyun-woo heard footsteps in the corridor outside their ship. Someone was coming aboard. "Captain," said Minho nervously, "should we be armed?" "No, if they wanted to kill us, they could have done it already." The airlock opened and 3 figures entered the bridge. They were clearly human, but unlike any humans Hyun-woo had imagined. The leader was a woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to glow with their own light. She wore a uniform that looked both practical and elegant. "I am Admiral Yun-mi of the Earth Defense Force," she said. Her voice was the same one they had heard on the communication system. "Welcome to Terra Station. Thank you for allowing us." "To enter your system," replied Hyun-woo. "Your system?" Yun-mi smiled. "Captain, this has been our system for over 4 billion years. The Federation just forgot that for a while." The man standing beside her stepped forward. He was tall and muscular, with scars visible on his arms and neck. "I am Commander Jin-ho. We will escort you to the station commander for debriefing." "Debriefing? You have questions about humans," said Yun-mi. "And we have questions about why a Federation ship is willing to break quarantine to find answers. It seems we have much to discuss." As they walked through the station's corridors, Hyun-woo tried to take in everything he saw. The walls were covered with displays showing technical information that made no sense to him. People moved with purpose and confidence, wearing uniforms that looked advanced beyond anything in Federation space. "How many humans live here?" asked Ji-won on the station. "About 50,000, replied Jin-ho. "On Earth, approximately 12 billion? 12 billion? Min-ho sounded shocked. The Federation estimated that maybe a few million humans survived the catastrophic event. Yun-mi and Jin-ho exchanged glances. "There was no catastrophic event," Yun-mi said simply. "That was a story the Federation told to justify the quarantine. The only catastrophe was what the hegemony tried to do to us." They entered a large room with windows that looked out over Earth. The planet was even more beautiful from this angle, showing vast cities, green forests, and blue oceans. It was clearly a world where billions of people lived and worked in peace. "Captain Hyun-woo," said Yun-mi, "you came here to learn the truth about humans. Are you prepared to hear it?" Hyun-woo looked at his crew, then back at the Admiral. "Yes." "Then let me introduce you to Dr. Young-soo, our chief xenobiologist. He will explain our philosophy." An older man approached from the other side of the room. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile, but there was something in his expression that suggested great intelligence and determination. "Captain," Dr. Young-soo said, 200 years ago your people tried to kill us, so we learned to be unkillable. You tried to contain us, so we learned to thrive in containment. Every limitation you place on us becomes a challenge we overcome." The simple words carried enormous weight. Hyun-woo realized he was not just meeting humans, he was meeting a species that had turned adversity into strength, and containment into opportunity. "What have you been doing for 200 years? He asked. Dr. Young-soo's smile widened. "Learning, growing, preparing." "Preparing for what?" "For the day when the galaxy is ready to be free?" Dr. Hae-won arrived at the observation deck carrying a portable data device. She was younger than Dr. Young-soo, with bright eyes and hands that moved constantly as she spoke. "Captain Hyun-woo, Admiral Yun-mi asked me to show you what we have been building." "Building?" asked Hyun-woo. "The Federation thinks they have us trapped in this system," Hae-won explained with a smile. "In reality, they have given us the perfect laboratory to develop our technology without interference." She activated her device and the large windows became display screens showing different parts of the Sol system. "Let me show you what 200 years of human engineering looks like." The first image showed what appeared to be a massive construction project hidden in the rings of Saturn. Ships and stations moved between the ice and rock, but these were not small mining operations. They were building something enormous. "Shipyards," Hae-won said simply. "We can now build vessels that make our escort ships look like toys." Min-ho leaned forward to study the display. "How big are those construction facilities?" "The main yard is approximately 200 kilometers long. We can build 20 capital ships at the same time." Ji-won pointed at something moving between the construction platforms. "What are those?" "Worker ships. They can phase through solid matter to position components exactly where they need to be." "Phase through solid matter?" Du-hyun sounded confused. "That's impossible." He laughed. "Captain, your Federation still thinks in terms of what is impossible. We think in terms of what is necessary." The display changed to show the asteroid belt. What looked like a natural collection of rocks was actually something much more organized. Structures had been built inside the larger asteroids, connected by tunnels and transport tubes. Mining and manufacturing, explained HFY. We can produce anything we need without the Federation noticing. To their sensors, it just looks like normal asteroid activity. How long have you been building all this? Asked Hyun-woo. We started immediately after the quarantine began. By the time the Federation thought we were contained, we were already expanding throughout our system. Admiral Yunmi joined them at the display. Dr. HFY showed them the Mars facilities. The screen shifted to show the red planet. But Mars did not look the way it should. The surface was covered with green areas and blue lakes. Cities stretched across continents that should have been empty desert. We terraformed Mars in 80 years, HFY said proudly. It now supports 3 billion people. 3 billion? Whispered Ji-won. How is that possible? We learned to work together instead of competing against each other, replied Admiral Yunmi. When your entire species is threatened, you stop wasting time on small problems. A new person approached their group. She was tall and moved with the confidence of someone used to being in command. Captain Hyun-woo? I am Captain So Young of the Earth Defense Force. Admiral Yunmi asked me to brief you on our military capabilities. Hyun-woo felt a chill at her words. Military capabilities? We are not planning to attack anyone, So Young said quickly. But we learned during the HFY War that peace requires strength. She gestured to the display, which now showed technical diagrams of human ships. Our vessels can phase shift through normal space, making them nearly impossible to track or target. Our weapons can disrupt enemy systems without destroying them. Our soldiers can survive in environments that would kill most species. You're saying you're stronger than the Federation? Asked Minho. We're saying we're different from the Federation, replied So Young. They rule through fear and control. We defend through adaptation and innovation. Dr. Young-soo rejoined the group, carrying a cup of something that smelled like coffee. Captain, there is something else you need to understand about what we have been doing. What? We have not been alone. The statement hung in the air like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Han-woo looked around at the human faces, trying to understand what they meant. Show him, said Admiral Yun-me. The display changed again. This time it showed star charts with communication routes marked in different colors. The routes connected Sol system to dozens of other stars throughout Federation space. We have been in contact with other species, explained Dr. Young-soo. Species that the Federation has conquered or controlled. Species that want freedom but lack the strength to fight for it alone. Ambassador Minji stepped forward from somewhere behind the group. She was an elegant woman with gray hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. Captain, the Federation rules over 300 inhabited worlds. Do you know how many of those worlds joined the Federation voluntarily? Hyun-woo thought about it. In all his years of service, he had never really questioned how the Federation had grown so large. I assume most of them. 17, said Minji quietly. 17 worlds joined because they wanted to. The other 283 were conquered, threatened, or forced to join. That's not possible. The Federation stands for peace and cooperation. The Federation stands for control, replied Minji. They maintain peace by making sure no one is strong enough to challenge them. Until now. The star chart display zoomed in on specific systems. Han-woo recognized some of the names worlds that had been reported as having civil unrest or communication problems in recent years. We have been sharing technology and knowledge, continued Minji, teaching other species how to defend themselves, how to build better weapons, better ships, better societies. Chief Strategist Dong-woo approached the group. He was a quiet man who had been watching from the side of the room. Captain, what we are about to show you must remain secret until the time is right. What are you planning? Dong-woo activated a new display that showed the entire galaxy. Hundreds of star systems were marked with different colored symbols. Red for Federation-controlled worlds, green for independent systems, and blue for something else. The blue systems represent worlds that are ready, Dong-woo explained. Ready to declare independence from Federation control. Ready to defend themselves, ready to be free. Han-woo counted the blue markers. There were more than he had expected. How many? 137 systems? Over 200 billion people. And they're all working together? They're all working toward the same goal, replied Dong-woo. Freedom from Federation oppression? Admiral Yunmi moved to stand beside the display. Captain, the Federation made a mistake when they declared us a dead zone. They thought they were containing a threat. Instead, they gave us time to organize. The largest liberation movement in galactic history. Liberation movement? Every species the Federation has conquered still remembers what freedom felt like. said Dr. Young-Soo. They were just waiting for someone to show them it was possible. To be free again. Minji pulled up communication records on her personal device. We receive messages every day from worlds asking for help, asking for hope, asking for proof that the Federation can be challenged. And you're giving them that proof? We're giving them the tools to create their own proof, replied Captain So-young. Better technology, better strategies, better coordination. When will this liberation movement begin? Asked Du-Hy. The humans exchanged glances. Admiral Yun-Mi spoke for all of them. It already has begun, Captain. Small acts of resistance. Communication networks. Technology transfers. The Federation has been losing control for years, but they don't realize it yet. Dongwu highlighted several systems on the display. These worlds have stopped sending tribute to the Federation. These others have started ignoring Federation orders. And these have built defense fleets using human-designed technology. The Federation must have noticed something, said Hyunwoo. They have noticed increased civil unrest, admitted Minji. But they think it's unrelated incidents. They don't understand that it's all connected. Connected how? Dr. Haewon smiled. Captain, remember what I told you about human engineering? We don't just build ships and stations. We build networks. Systems that connect people across vast distances. You've built a communication network that spans the galaxy? We've built something better, replied Admiral Yun-Mi. We've built hope. The display showed message traffic flowing between star systems in a complex web of communication. The volume of data was enormous, suggesting millions of people staying in contact across hundreds of worlds. Every world that joins the network becomes stronger, explained Dongwu. They share technology, strategies, and support. When one world faces Federation pressure, the others help them resist. Hyunwoo felt overwhelmed by what he was learning. The humans had not just survived their quarantine, they had used it to organize a galactic revolution. What happens when the Federation discovers what you're doing? They can try to stop us, said Captain So-young. But it's too late for that now. The network is too large, too distributed, too well protected. And too many people want to be free, added Dr. Young-Soo. Admiral Yun-Mi looked directly at Hyunwoo. Captain, you came here to learn the truth about humans, now you know. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Captain Hyunwoo stood alone in the guest quarters aboard Terra Station, staring at the datapad Admiral Yun-Mi had given him. It contained proof of everything the humans had told him, communication logs, technical specifications, and video. Messages from dozens of worlds asking for help to break free from Federation control. His crew was sleeping in nearby rooms, but Hyunwoo could not rest. In a few hours, he would have to make the most important decision of his life. Return to Federation space and report what he had learned, or stay and help the humans with their liberation movement. A soft chime indicated someone wanted to speak with him. Enter, he called. General Jaemin stepped into the room. He was a serious man with gray hair and eyes that had seen many battles. Captain, I apologize for disturbing you, but there is something you need to see. What is it? The first phase of our operation has begun. Admiral Yun-Mi thought you should witness it. They walked through the station's corridors to a command center filled with displays and communication equipment. Dozens of humans worked at control stations, coordinating something that looked very complex. What am I looking at? Asked Hyunwoo. Liberation, replied General Jaemin simply. Admiral Seung-ho approached from one of the control stations. Captain, our stealth ships began departing Sol System 12 hours ago. They are now approaching target systems throughout Federation space. Target systems? Worlds that are ready to declare independence, explained Seung-ho. Our ships are not carrying weapons. They are carrying something much more powerful. On the main display, Hyunwoo could see a map of the galaxy with moving dots representing human ships. They were traveling to dozens of different star systems, spreading out like seeds in the wind. What are they carrying? He asked. Commander Yuna looked up from her station. Information, Captain. Proof that the Federation has been lying about Earth, evidence of their crimes against the species they have conquered, and most importantly, technical specifications for defensive technology. You're giving away your military secrets? We're giving away freedom, replied Admiral Yun-Mi, who had just entered the command center. Technology is only powerful when it serves a good purpose. The main display changed to show communication traffic between star systems. Messages were flowing back and forth at an incredible rate, suggesting millions of people coordinating their actions. How many worlds are participating? Asked Hyunwoo. At this moment, 143 systems have confirmed they are ready to proceed, answered General Jaemin. More are joining every hour. Proceeding with what? Declaring independence from the Federation, all at the same time. The scale of what they were planning finally hit Hyun-woo. You're organizing a galactic revolution. We're organizing a galactic liberation, corrected Admiral Yoon-mi. Revolution implies violence and destruction. Liberation means setting people free. Commander Yuna called out from her station. Admiral, we're receiving confirmation from the first target systems. The information packages have been delivered successfully. How are the populations responding? Asked Admiral Sung-ho. Better than expected. The people on these worlds have been waiting for this moment for decades. They're ready to act. Han-woo watched the displays with growing amazement. What he was seeing was the coordination of billions of people across hundreds of worlds, all working toward the same goal. How did you organize something this large without the Federation noticing? President Dayun entered the command center at that moment. She was an older woman with kind eyes and a voice that carried natural authority. Captain, the Federation made a fundamental mistake. They assumed that controlling communication systems meant controlling communication. What do you mean? We built our own communication systems, she explained. Networks that exist inside their networks. Messages that look like normal data traffic but actually carry revolutionary information. And we taught other species to do the same, added Dr. Young-soo, who had followed the president into the room. Every world in our network has its own hidden communication system. The main display now showed Federation response to the situation. Ships were moving throughout their territory, but they appeared confused and disorganized. They don't understand what's happening, observed Admiral Sung-ho. They're seeing isolated incidents of civil unrest, not a coordinated movement. How long before they figure it out? Asked Hyun-woo. Too late to stop it, replied General Jae-min with satisfaction. Commander Yuna announced new information from her station. Admiral, we're receiving reports from the second wave target systems. Federation governors on 17 worlds have been presented with declarations of independence. What are their responses? Mixed. Some are trying to negotiate. Others are calling for military support. But Captain, here's the important part. Their military support is not coming. Why not? Admiral Young-mi smiled. Because many Federation fleet commanders are from worlds that want to be free. When they received orders to attack their own people, they refused. The communication displays showed an explosion of message traffic as news of the declarations spread throughout Federation space. Han-woo could see that some star systems were declaring independence even though they had not been part of the original plan. It's spreading, he said with wonder. Freedom is contagious, replied President Dayun. Once people see that liberation is possible, they want it for themselves. Admiral, called Commander Yuna, we're receiving a priority transmission from Federation Command. They're trying to contact all ships in the Outer Rim sectors. What are they saying? They're ordering all vessels to return to their home bases immediately. They're calling it a galaxy-wide emergency. Admiral Sung-ho checked his displays. Our monitoring stations report that Federation fleets are retreating from contested systems. They're pulling back to defend their core worlds. Which means, added General Jae-min, they're abandoning the Outer Rim territories to focus on keeping control of what they consider most important. President Dayun moved to the center of the command room. It's time for the final announcement. The main display changed to show a communication setup that would broadcast to every inhabited world in the galaxy. President Dayun positioned herself in front of the camera, while technicians made final adjustments to ensure the signal would reach everywhere. This message will go out on all frequencies, explained Dr. Young-soo to Hyun-woo. Every communication device in Federation space will receive it. Citizens of the galaxy, President Dayun began, her voice calm and strong. 200 years ago, the Federation declared Earth a dead zone to keep humanity contained. They told you we were destroyed, that our world was uninhabitable, that we were a threat to galactic peace. The camera showed images of Earth as it really was, green, blue, and alive with billions of people living in freedom. They lied. We are very much alive. We have spent 2 centuries not in death but in preparation. Preparation to help you reclaim the freedom that was taken from you. More images flowed across the screen. The liberation fleets, the communication networks, the worlds that had already declared independence. Today, we return the favor that the Federation gave us. They declared us dead to contain us. We now declare their oppression dead, their tyranny contained, and their control over your lives ended. The broadcast showed real-time updates as more worlds joined the liberation movement. The number was climbing rapidly, 160 systems, then 180, then 200. You don't need to choose between Federation control and human domination, President Dune continued. You can choose freedom. The freedom to govern yourselves, to live as you choose, to build the kind of society you want for your children. Admiral Yunmi moved to stand beside Haiyan Wu. Captain, this is your moment of choice as well. Will you return to Federation space and try to help them maintain control? Or will you help us build something better? Han Wu looked around the command center at all the humans working to coordinate the liberation of hundreds of worlds. Then he looked at his own crew, who had followed him on this journey and learned the truth alongside him. Du Huayan, he called to his communications officer. Open a channel to Federation Command. Yes, Captain. This is Captain Haiyan Wu of the Starseeker, he announced. I am broadcasting from Sol System, which is very much alive and very much free. The humans are not the danger you claimed they were. They are the solution we have been waiting for. He turned off the transmission and looked back at Admiral Yumi. I choose freedom. The command center erupted in cheers as the displays showed the final count. 312 star systems had declared independence from the Federation. The galactic liberation was complete. What happens now? Asked Haiyan Wu. Now? Replied President Dayun, we build a galaxy where every species can live free. 5 years later, Ambassador Xiangmin represented Earth at the first session of the new Galactic Assembly. The meeting hall was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds, all governing themselves as equals. When the journalist asked about humanity's plans for expansion, Xiangmin smiled and gave the answer that had become Earth's motto. We've already expanded to every world that wanted us. We're not interested in the ones that don't. The age of Federation control was over. The age of galactic freedom had begun.